If I told you that the next person you meet will be your soulmate, not maybe, not possibly, but guaranteed, how would you show up for love? People often come to me in therapy and say, I'm too afraid of getting hurt. All love ends. Or even, everyone walks away. What's even the point? Or, I don't think anyone could love me if they knew the real me. And this one, more than any other, I'm scared I'll give too much and get nothing in return. These are all valid fears, but notice how nobody says, I'm afraid of love, because what they're really afraid of isn't love, it's rejection, disappointment, abandonment, and not being enough. I'm Jordan Travers, a clinical psychotherapist, and today we're peeling back your fear of love so you can finally see what it's really protecting you from. Number one, you don't fear love, you fear vulnerability. People don't just fear rejection, they fear being known, seen, laid bare, and then rejected. It's one thing to be disliked when you're guarded. It's another thing entirely to say, here I am with everything I have, and watch the person you trusted trample on it and walk away. You may think, if they knew how anxious I get, how deeply I feel, how awkward I am, they'd leave. That's not fear of love, that's fear of shame. Vulnerability puts people face to face with the parts of themselves they're most ashamed of. The parts of yourself you've been told are too much or are not enough. And if someone rejects that version of you, it doesn't just hurt, it confirms your deepest fear that maybe you were unlovable all along. Now, flip the script for a bit. If love was guaranteed, if safety was guaranteed, would you still be afraid to show up as you are? Or would you bring everything you are, your past, your scars, your story, and lay your heart bare, knowing with full confidence the other person wouldn't trample on it and wouldn't walk away? Research confirms this. A 2019 study observed 82 couples as they had two vulnerable conversations. In one, individuals shared something deeply personal but unrelated to their partner. In the other, they revealed a vulnerability that directly involved them. Something like, I feel disconnected when you don't ask how I'm doing, or I feel shut down when you leave the room during an argument. Now, here's what the researchers found. When someone shared a personal vulnerability, they were usually met with support and empathy and warmth. But when the vulnerability implicated the partner, even gently, something shifted. Many partners grew defensive, and some became cold. They didn't hear it as a bid for closeness, they heard it as an accusation. And this is the risk of intimacy. Vulnerability only deepens connection when it's received well. But when the listener feels attacked, they stop sharing. And that's how it begins, that shift inside your body that says, don't up again, it is not safe here. Vulnerability is terrifying, not because it's weak, but because it puts your whole self in someone else's hands. So when you're afraid to share, it's not because you fear love. You fear what happens when love fails to hold what you've shared, which brings me to our second reason. You fear losing yourself and your independence. When you believe love isn't for me, I was always meant to be alone, what you're really saying is, I'm scared I'll give too much and get nothing in return, or relationships feel like they'll consume me or derail my life. For those who equate love with enmeshment or sacrifice, commitment feels like surrendering autonomy. It's the fear of disappearing inside another person, of being molded to fit someone else's desires until you can't recognize yourself anymore. A patient of mine once said something along the lines of, I don't want to be someone's better half. I want to be whole and loved for it, not reduced to someone's emotional crutch or a life plan. And that stayed with me because it captures the exact tension we see in therapy again and again. People aren't avoiding connection because they don't care. They're avoiding it because they're tired of disappearing inside it. They've seen what love can cost, how it demands time and energy, decisions, even identity. And somewhere along the way, they internalize the belief that intimacy means loss. Loss of freedom, loss of control, loss of self. This is why some of the most fiercely independent people are also the loneliest. not because they don't deserve love, but because they've been taught to survive without needing anyone. And it's not just a hunch. A 2025 study analyzed over 1,000 young adults and found a specific pattern. The stronger someone's desire for freedom, self growth, and exploration, the more likely they were to fear losing their independence in a relationship. The fear was named the subjugation concern. It included not just the fear of being controlled, but also the fear of boredom, sexual frustration, and missing out on personal goals. The study found that people who strongly value autonomy, those with a preference for openness to change over conservation, were significantly more likely to avoid relationships for this reason. And here's the paradox: it's not that these people don't want love, it's that love feels like a trap. So they build lives that are fiercely independent, successful, creative, even adventurous, but often quietly alone. Because somewhere along the way, they started believing to be loved is to be limited, or to be close is to be consumed. But here's what they often don't realize: true intimacy doesn't erase you, it reflects you back to yourself. It holds space for your edges, it stretches to fit your freedom. It's the right kind of love. So the real question becomes, is it love you're afraid of? Or is it the kind of love that demands you shrink to fit? Because I promised you that tomorrow you would find the kind of person who won't cage you, but gives you the wind for your sails, would you take that plunge? And if this video brought you even a moment of clarity, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to the channel. I'm Jordan Travers. I'm the clinical director at Awake Therapy, and I'll see you next time. Bye.